Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Motor Stardom Show. It is Tuesday night. It is November 4th, 2025. We're in November. So usually that means we're towards the end of the NASCAR season, and in this case, we are at the end of the NASCAR season. It has concluded. We've made it this far. Everybody says it's a long season because it is. February all the way to November is a very long time, but as we continue to go and as we continue to age, I guess all of us, life continues to pass us by and times continue to fly by even faster. Feel like we were just in Daytona and then Daytona again in August, right? And now all the way in November, and we'll surely be back at Daytona soon. ARCA testing in January, Rolex 24 in January. We'll be back at that track before we know it, but it's been a spectacular year, and I'm glad to have our small live audience here with us to watch the show, as well as the broad social media audience that has joined us and has supported Motor Stardom throughout the year. It has been an awesome time. So, firstly, I will obviously bring in the man that joined us in February and will join us here in November. The man, the myth, the legend, Mason Maggio. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It's crazy to think that the year is over.
It's crazy. What the hell?
I keep thinking like, all right, where are we going to next week? And I'm like, well, there is no next week for like 3 months. So definitely, no, it's been a long year, but another exciting year of NASCAR racing. A cool year for me personally, getting to run a lot more regularly this year in the Xfinity Series, as well as also being a part of the Motor Stardom Show and creating a new chapter for me as well as for you and Steven when he was a part of the show as well. So it's been a cool, unique year. So I'm glad we ended it off on a high note, and we got a lot to talk about today with everything that happened out in Phoenix. So we might as well just get right into it.
Exactly. A lot to talk about. And you mentioned, starting this show at the beginning of the year. It's been an awesome road, something I certainly never could have predicted. But as I texted you earlier, I'm super glad we had that gigantic yap session in the Daytona garage to get this all started with the three of us. Obviously, we know everything's better as a trio. So let's slide in Mr. Tanner Popella from Pennsylvania, who's going to join us here on the show. Don't spit out that water, Mason Maggio.
No, it threw me for a loop.
Dude, wearing the shirt there, unfortunately. Ryan
bittersweet.
Bittersweet for sure. Yeah.
A rough week for Ford people. Chris Gollin, writer for Motor Stardom, was supposed to join the show. Unfortunately, has come down with a cold. He's a Brad Keselowski guy, and we'll watch that back. And for all of you Brad Keselowski fans, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I was watching at the corner of my eye there at the end of the race, and I like this comment from Christian. I totally forgot the NASCAR awards right now. So if you're choosing to watch us over the NASCAR awards, shout out to you. We appreciate it. We're going to try to provide the entertainment here. We're going to talk about the season, and we're going to give you some real stuff. But Tanner, I guess first, how you doing, man? I should ask you.
I'm doing pretty good. And before I say anything about myself, I have a question for Mason. What does a NASCAR off season for a driver look like?
Well, that's funny. I thought about that a little bit today. I was like, well, technically the season's over for the fans and for all the on-track excitement, but for me, it's not over. I'm starting to get the ball rolling for what 2026 could look like. So I had some calls with some sponsors, some emails, text messages for my past sponsors from this year, as well as potential new ones, trying to get everything locked in. And just trying to get the ball rolling, seeing what everybody's got planned, what the future could look like. And, time will tell. We got 3 months to figure it out. So hopefully everything comes together sooner than later. But yeah, it's still a grind at the end of the day. It's just not we're not hustling at the racetrack or figuring out when the next race is. It's just planning our season and making sure that we got everything lined up and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it depends who you are, that question, for sure. So,
True.
some people that I talk to don't have anything planned all off season, and some people that I've talked to, like Corey Day last week, is going racing in a few weeks, and people like Kyle Larson have grown up doing the same thing, coming up through dirt racing and late models. And I mean, there's select drivers that are literally entered in a late model race this weekend, I believe. So it definitely depends who you are. Shout out Tommy Simpson. I
Shout
wonder
out
what
Tommy Simpson.
I
Yeah.
wonder what a guy. Big shout out to him. He's been on the show a few times this year, whether it's in Mason Maggio's room, Mason Maggio's RV. He has certainly been there. We're gonna rank our top 5 guests at the end of this episode, or at least in my opinion. I guess I should say we all have different opinions, but shout out Tommy Simpson. Hope he's doing well, and hope the off season treats him well. But let's get into it, man. We got some great comments coming in. Long-time Instagram follower, first-time Motor Stardom YouTube live viewer. All right, let's go. Shout out Matthew Duncan.
Hell
Thank you for all the support over there on Instagram. Welcome to the show. It's been a great year. If you ever want to see the highlights, check out the YouTube. We've had a bunch of great episodes this year. We're going to cap it off with a good one here. Let's start. Should we start happy or sad? Should we start with the sad and get to the happy, or start with the happy?
I think we should progress from sadness to the best part.
We should work our way up into this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and there you go.
Yeah.
That is as sad as you can get.
All I needed to know, man. A quick one. We saw Kyle Busch turn the fan base around for him, right? Over the years, he was the most hated guy and became not the most loved, but he gets cheers. People are hoping he wins a race because we get invested in those stories, and people want to see that story of Kyle Busch getting back to victory lane. Denny Hamlin this year had a podcast with Kyle Busch, said, hey, am I the new Kyle Busch? Am I the new guy, right? He gets booed at every race. Everybody seems to just hate Denny Hamlin. He's the villain. All of a sudden, these last few weeks, right, people start to read the stories, hear the stories, and kind of get behind, especially with all this BS playoff stuff and this, that. Hard to get behind a lot of things, but it was easy to get behind the story of Denny Hamlin getting his first championship, scoring it for his dad. So he got cheered in driver interest. People were polling for Denny Hamlin. He dominates the race. People are able to accept this victory here for Denny Hamlin. And then with 4 laps to go, William Byron hits the wall. The caution comes out. Cliff Daniels throws a Hail Mary. And all of a sudden, we go from Denny Hamlin possibly winning his first championship to Kyle Larson winning the championship. He's now a 2-time champion. Obviously, congrats to him. Congrats to Hendrick Motorsports. This was something that was bound to happen. But that circles us back to this image, and it was Denny Hamlin after the race. And literally everybody feels some sort of heartbreak. Kyle Larson even feels upset about the way this thing panned out, and he won the championship. Mason, I'll start with you. What was your initial reactions, obviously, to everything that transpired, and then just kind of the aftermath, like these last 2 days, thinking about everything that transpired on Sunday and what could have been, what's been going through your mind?
Yeah. It's just our playoff system, man. It's a blessing and a curse depending on what side of the fence you're on. I mean, if you're Larson, you pulled a Hail Mary, right? And when we look at Larson's statistics, I mean, he obviously had a lot of points going into the year. Even when you look at it from the points bracket, right, he was definitely one of the favorites. But as far as for Denny, my heart broke. I'm gonna be real. I don't. With me being in the spot that I'm in, I don't really root for anybody anymore. Just because at the end of the day, drivers are just normal people to me now. But in this case, I was rooting for Denny. It hit me kind of in a place when he was talking about his father and his health and not being completely there, and time's trickling down, unfortunately, and that broke my heart. I can't imagine ever losing a father figure like that. So I was gutted for him, and I was rooting for him, and I felt like this was Denny's best chance to win a championship this year. And we talked about it. I don't think last week, but it was the week prior where I was like, hey, I think this is Hamlin's year. It feels just the vibe going into Phoenix is more for Hamlin than it's been in the past. And I truly felt that. And I thought with 5 to go, I was like, man, if we don't get a caution, he's going to do it. And but that's just the the ups and downs of this sport is you're going to have things happen whether you like it or not. It's more of a team sport than what people realize. Pit stops were extremely, extremely crucial, especially with all the tire issues that guys were having throughout the day, as well as our championship contending guys that had that. With Chase Briscoe had a problem. Obviously, Byron had a problem that brought out that caution. And I think at one point Larson had a slight issue and was able to recover. But I mean, man, it's just brutal. It drains you, man. It definitely drains you. Like you said in that quote, he's like, I don't even want to drive a race car. I mean, these guys put so much of their blood, sweat, and tears and so much passion into what they do that when you lose it the way that Hamlin lost it, you just want to lose all motivation. But as we know, Denny Hamlin is no quitter. We see that in the way that he drives, the way he performs. And on top of that, we see that in the way that he motivates his team. Whether that's him driving the 11 car or even with 2311, he's motivated for bigger and better, and he's going to come back from it. But there's no easy way to swallow the pill that he had to take when he crossed the start-finish line and realized he was one spot short. But but Larson was on point this throughout the year, was starting to get a little bit more consistent. We talked about that at the beginning of the year. Larson needed to improve consistency, and by God, he improved it towards the end and was in the right place at the right time. But that's the very highs of highs if you're Larson in the sport, and then you got by far the lowest I've seen Denny Hamlin ever. So it's it's the playoff system. It's what we have, but we got another year coming up before you know it, and hopefully Hamlin gets that opportunity, and who knows, maybe it's redemption next year. But definitely was heartbreaking to witness.
Yeah, and I mean, for you, Tanner, as a guy that you don't watch week to week, but you've known the sport long enough to understand Denny Hamlin's story and understand the story of him going for his first ever championship. And you can compare this to any other scenario in sports that you want. As people love to compare us to stick and ball sports lately, but when you see obviously just the picture of him sitting inside the race car, but understanding how many years he's literally tried after this. And we literally started off the show talking about February to November. That's how long this damn season is. That's how long in February you declare you're going to have a shot for the championship, and in the final 4 laps of a race, you lose it. It's gutting, and I'm sure you understand that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you said earlier, I was never a guy who booed on Denny Hamlin. I never hated the guy whatsoever. And for him being 44 years old, this close to winning his first championship and going out like that is just terrible. I mean, you're seeing comparisons to Carl Edwards in 2016 and stuff like that. So I hope this isn't Denny's last time in a car. Him revenge season next year would be pretty cool to me, but in his perspective, it's very understandable if he were to retire.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to see, right? People have been comparing what just happened to Carl Edwards in 2016, and I mean, realistically, so. I mean, these two things are, not the same exact things happen, but you have Carl Edwards who was leading, late race caution comes out, and then all the stuff that happened on the restart, which obviously he took fault for, but him sitting after the race and thinking of all the things, no matter what he did that year, that led him to that situation. One snap of finger and it's all gone. Nothing that you did before matters. So I think what this weekend really proved is, there's so many aspects of this championship format and the way we crown a champion in the sport right now that are wrong. And it's not just one, right? Because, a lot of people came out, well, hey, Kyle Larson as the champion, it would have won under a full season points format, right? Obviously, people would have raced different if that was the case, so we can't always say that. But he was the top point scorer overall, in the series. But for me, it's just there's too many different things that you look at, because now, right, we say that, and you're like, okay, so Kyle Larson, we should be rightfully celebrating him as the champion, but we're not, right, because of the way that final race happened. It's unsettling. Like now there's an asterisk on his championship when realistically he should have just, we should be celebrating what a season he had. And now, unfortunately, we're just going to have to look back at this way that we, crown the champion. Now, NASCAR, we've talked about the playoffs so many times on this show. We'll see what they do. I know they're heavily considering a 3-3-4 format, which I'll just go and say it straight up, bullshit if they do it. I don't think that fixes anything. I mean, it fixes, I guess, one problem, right? But it still leaves us the million other problems we have with this format. So I'm a big 10 race Chase guy, man. Chase was a good time. I was explaining that to my dad last night because I was telling him about the current playoff system. And I see a lot of people now talking now how they're telling people kind of outside of the sport, as well as like their parents that maybe used to watch the sport, and you're trying to explain the playoff system. Like, what the hell is that? And my dad was really confused. Well, he understands the playoff format. He just thinks it's pretty stupid. I don't know for you, Tanner. I mean, I think you bring a good perspective of somebody that's like, you're not 100% locked in on the sport, obviously, as much as me and Mason are, but you watch from afar. What do you kind of gather from the way the playoff format is? Like, what have you learned? What do you know? What do you think of it? Like, from a guy that's just kind of there, you just watch, you dibble dabble in the sport. What do you think? I like to hear this perspective.
So I was actually explaining the playoff format to my buddy today because he saw Denny Hamlin and stuff all over the news, and he doesn't watch NASCAR whatsoever. So he's like, what happened? Why is everyone so upset? Blah, blah, blah. And I explained the whole thing. And his point was, if the playoff format stays the same, that doesn't give like one guy an advantage over everyone else. It kind of gives someone else a chance to win something, is kind of where I stand. Like, I mean, gutting for sure, but it gives other guys opportunities to win. So I think the way it happened sucks, but it doesn't seem to have been much of a problem until now. So changing it would just kind of be, I don't know. Like you said, it would only solve one problem. So
somebody kick this guy from the stream.
My bad.
It's
you asked for my opinion.
Not the answer I wanted. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Mason, I'll let you add here to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that's just our system right now, And another guy that I feel for is on the Xfinity side of things with Connor Zilisch. I mean, that's another guy that I feel like was, and I think everybody can agree with me because I think a lot of people had the same thoughts when, with like just the fact of, hey, this is the most dominant driver that we've had this year. I think he hadn't finished outside of the top 5 in the last 10 or 15 races. Top 5
he still
in his rookie season. His worst finish the last 10 races was 5th. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's frustrating to see a guy that definitely deserves it, not get it. Not saying that Jesse Love didn't deserve it, because he drove a great race. He executed when he needed to execute, right? But the deserving champion was Connor Zilisch in that aspect. I know we changed the topic very quickly, but that's just the other thing about our playoff system. That's a blessing and a curse. We see guys that dominate throughout the season, and then all of a sudden you see a guy that you wouldn't have maybe chosen as a championship favorite go on and win the championship. But consistency is key in our sport. Execution is key in our sport. But yeah, it's brutal sometimes, man. It is absolutely brutal as we move on and talk about the Xfinity side of things.
Yeah, and then the biggest thing I tried to explain to my dad last night, but a lot of people is the biggest thing, that we've seen, Tanner, recently in a lot of things is people comparing stick and ball sports to NASCAR. And as soon as somebody says, hey, the playoff system isn't really a valid way to crown a champion in motorsports, they say, oh, well, were you crying when the undefeated Patriots got beat by the Giants in the Super Bowl or whatever, or, the number 1 seed lost in the playoffs? And I'm like, well, no, that's completely different. Like, in my opinion, it's the stupidest argument. In my opinion, you can get it at first, But here's the difference, simple difference between stick and ball sports and motorsports. NASCAR, no matter what, playoffs, regular season, you're racing against everybody else. In football, it's one-on-one. And any sports, one team against one team, and that's it. On a fair playing field, whatever, not on different types of racetracks, right? You're not racing against each other by yourself. Like, no, it's you have everybody else on the racetrack, and that's what makes it different. Anything can ruin somebody's day, especially when you come down to one race. I mean, you take a look at what happened there at the end of the race, right? Kyle Larson jumps ahead on 2 tires on pit road. The only reason Denny Hamlin loses that, right, is because 2 guys stay out up front, a bunch of other people take 2 tires, and they're separated in the back. It was over. As soon as he came on pit road, it was over because of what other people did, because of what somebody running 27th place all day decided to do at the end of that race. And so that's the difference there, because of so many, variables that happen in racing. And I look at racing as a thing that, especially when you get to the Xfinity series and truck series, this is something that people pay to do, work their ass off to do. In stick and ball sports, you get paid to do this, and in NASCAR, you are, in my opinion, logistically working a lot harder for your opportunities than you are in other sports, than just being athletically gifted, obviously, which is great. But it's completely different, and it's upsetting for a driver, for a right rear tire changer on a car, for a crew chief, for all these people that have worked their ass off all year to get screwed by something that literally out of your control. I mean, I don't think there's anything in football or baseball that just happens out of your control where you can say, well, that was completely somebody else's fault. Besides the 2018 NFC Championship game between the Saints and the Rams. But
that's complete bias.
Other than that,
complete bias there. Saints fan talking there.
Yeah. But it's just dumb. And the 10 race chase was, in my opinion, the perfect way to balance playoffs in sports, or playoffs in motorsports, without getting too extreme and making something that it shouldn't be. Tony Stewart's run in 2011 will be forever talked about. Making 100%. The chase right at the very bottom and just grinding his way for 10 races, and there was nobody ever that said that was Mickey Mouse. Maybe the 90-year-old dude on the couch who watched the Winston Cup or whatever back in Daytona Beach when they were driving on sand. Maybe he called it Mickey Mouse, but other than that, nobody to this day calls it a fluke championship. So I'm honestly tired of talking about it. I've said my piece. At this point, we just have to wait and see what NASCAR does with the playoff format. But one other point I will make before I end my yap here was that with previous championship formats, even a Super Bowl champion, a World Series champion, you go into the previous to the next year kind of talking about that champion a lot, fearing that champion, right? People fear that team. People fear the Dodgers next year, right? People fear the Chiefs. Nobody really talks about our champions like that anymore. Like, who the hell was afraid of Joey Logano this year? Like, did we go into Daytona, Atlanta, Phoenix, the opening races talking about, oh boy, who's going to knock off Joey Logano? He's the defending champ. Nobody said a damn word about that. Are we going to talk about that about Kyle Larson next year? Maybe, but the champions don't have the same aura anymore. Like, who's going to be talking about Jesse Love? Like, with all due respect to Jesse Love, are they going to be talking about who's going to defeat the 2 car? Right? Are they going to be talking about who's going to defeat Justin Allgaier? Right? Somebody who was really up there all year. So I don't know. Again, I'm tired of it. Anybody else have anything?
Well, to your point, RJ, we know guys that are going to be contenders for the championship 4. Obviously, like you said, Justin Allgaier is a great example of that. Seasoned veteran, dude's going to find a way to get to the championship 4. In his campaign with Junior Motorsports, ever since he's been over there, he's found a way to be a part of that picture, right? So we know our guys that are going to be, like, definitely big-time contenders, right? Like, we knew that when Connor Zilic came into the equation full-time in Xfinity this year. We knew he was going to be a contender in the championship 4. Your couple of core guys that can more than likely execute and get there.
Yeah.
But you don't look at them and they're like, who's going to take him down? It's like, no, who's going to fill up the 1 or 2 spots that will make up the championship 4 when we go to Phoenix, or in this case, for next year, when we go to Homestead, which that'll be really cool. But that's we have guys that we pay attention to, but we don't look at and say who's going to take them down, because our system is so crazy and you just never know what's going to happen, because every race is about survival. There's a lot of guys that I would say that, would have deserved to have been in the championship 4, but because of the way the format works, we didn't. We have our 1 or 2 core guys, I feel like, that we know can make it, but you don't know if they're going to execute that weekend and say, oh, they're going to be a threat when we get to Phoenix. And I think that's the thing with not just NASCAR racing, but with racing in general, is you never know what's going to happen. It, like you said, RJ, it's not football, it's not baseball where you got 2 teams against the world. No, it's 38, 40 other cars against the world trying to make it happen. And like you said, with when Hamlin hit pit road and he lost all that track position, especially with how much that we've complained about this car being absolutely abysmal with dirty air, it was a loss at that point. So, I mean, it's just the way that our system is, unfortunately. We're never going to quite have the same format as stick and ball sports, because we are not stick and ball sports. We are stock car racing. But at some point, it would be cool to kind of get to that point that we had a handful of years ago, like with Jimmy Johnson, for example, when he was dominating the sport, won 5 straight. That's when you kind of looked at him and you're just like, all right, well, who's going to take down Jimmy Johnson? We just don't have that anymore. And we haven't really had that for the past couple of years, because our system is just so all over the place.
Yeah, it is. It is certainly all over the place. And I think we've ran drivers out of the sport sooner than they wanted to, in my belief. Like if Denny Hamlin truly does decide to retire this offseason, right, in a crazy turn of events, we know what caused it, right? I mean, we all at this point collectively know what caused Carl Edwards' early retirement, what really led to that. I'm of the belief that Jimmy Johnson would have gave it a few more years if the season wasn't like this. I think Kevin Harvick would have gave it a few more years. Because it is so hard. Mason, as you're coming through the ranks, it is so hard to put together a full season of racing in today's age. Cup, Xfinity, even truck level, right? We see so many people just doing part-time efforts, right? It's so hard to put together a full season. And if you finally put it together, that means you got a lot of sponsorship, got a lot of money, put a bunch of things together to make this full season happen. And your goal is to run for a championship, right? If you're with a competitive team. And so the people that grind their ass off for that opportunity and realize that you can just lose it like that, and maybe they know it in the back of their head, right? Like Denny Hamlin's known this the whole time, right? And then you finally have it happen to you, it doesn't make you want to come back. It doesn't make it. Why would you want to go and try all again just to lose like that? Like, I mean, he literally said there's nothing else he could have done. He did everything right, and stuff just happened. So I think it'd definitely be a travesty if we ran Denny Hamlin out of the sport. I don't think he does. I think he comes back. I think, he's the type of guy that I feel would use it as motivation to the next year. But he looks spent. He's tired. He still looks spent today at the banquet, but that's my 2 cents on that. I hope we don't continue to run drivers out of the sport and kind of scare drivers from full-time opportunities of running for a championship, just because of how this format is. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what NASCAR does. Don't know when exactly it'll come out. Maybe the next few days or weeks or months. Who knows? But we can celebrate something that happened this weekend. And that was Kyle Busch getting a top 8. He granted America free chips and queso.
America's driver right there, buddy.
Yeah. Talk about a guy that isn't leaving the sport. Kyle Busch is still pumping.
If anybody knows me, I love chips and queso. I've got to find my local Cheddars and get over there and capitalize on this amazing opportunity. Shout out Kyle Busch.
Well,
unfortunately enough, in Pennsylvania, we do not have a Cheddar's, so this does not apply to me. But if I were a big Cheddar's guy, I think Kyle Busch would be my favorite driver of all time for this reason. Free chips and queso, dude. Chipotle doesn't offer free chips and queso, for God's sake.
That's what I'm saying.
This guy's doing what he can. America
He's
wins,
for the
exactly.
people. Yeah.
Yes.
We win at the end of if he wins, we win in this case. But he's not winning; he's getting top fives. But that's besides the point. Hopefully he. But in all seriousness, I hope Kyle Busch gets to that point. But hey, at least we got something to celebrate after a very up and down championship weekend in Phoenix.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Who can go wrong with chips and queso? I don't know.
What does the Cheddar's deal look like if Kyle Busch were to win a race, though? You know, a free chips and queso for a top 5, sure. If he were to win, what would Cheddar's have to offer? Is my question.
Exactly.
And or 2 words: chicken tendies.
Ooh, yeah. Can't go wrong with chicken tendies.
We love ourselves some good chicken tendies, I will say.
This is very true.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it's stuff like this. Somebody told me the other day, they were like, the biggest thing I love about Motor Stardom is, the account, gets you all the news you need to know and the content, but also stuff like this. And I was like, that's what I pride myself on. I want America to know that they can go get free chips and queso on Monday. And I want the world to know that Kyle Larson said 6'7" inside his race car, which was literally the best.
That's important. That's big. That's big news.
The best performing post on the Motor Stardom account in recent memory, literally was a post of Kyle Larson saying 6'7". Yeah. 176,000 views. So clearly the way to America's heart right now is 6'7". Is brain run. So
we'll the algorithm is weird, but sometimes you just got to roll with the punches, RJ. If I've learned anything about this crazy thing we call social media, sometimes the weirder or the more obscure, the better.
Hey, man, shout out to the Undertaker's wife, Michelle McCool, who followed Motor Stardom last night. I open my phone today and I see Michelle McCool has started following Motor Stardom. So obviously, with someone as amazing and cool as that, I had to give the follow back. But I don't know. Michelle McCool's a NASCAR fan, and apparently a Motor Stardom fan now. I tried to look at all the NASCAR accounts that she followed. It's none, actually. It's just Motor Stardom. So
that's massive.
Shout out the Undertaker. Shout out Michelle McCool. Welcome to the Motor Stardom family. It's been a great year. What a way to cap off the year with something like that, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we may have said, hey, we're going to be done for the off season. If we have a surprise episode just come out of nowhere, just know we got the Undertaker on the Motor Stardom show. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. We'll be talking about something as Tanner is out of here. Don't know why.
Tanner got kidnapped by the Undertaker.
The Undertaker about got him. So
the Undertaker heard me, dude.
Maybe we got to postpone this. Let him and Tanner settle their beef.
Hey, man, shout out
Motor Stardom WWE match. Me and the Undertaker live.
All right, that's how Tanner.
And me and RJ commentate.
Yeah, I'll watch it from the side for sure. So we'll see what happens there. Hey, man, we're going to keep the shout-outs rolling here. Shout out to the C-Dub. The C-W for an amazing season of Xfinity Series racing. Everybody over there, Adam Alexander, Parker Kligerman, Jamie McMurray especially, was the funnest booth to watch this year. They were so fun when all three of them were together. And then obviously Carla Metz, Kim Kuhn, Dylan Welch out there on pit road, bringing it all to us. Also did a fantastic job. But these guys did awesome. Mason, they covered your series throughout the year. I don't know if you have like a favorite moment or if you ever had interaction with any of these guys throughout the year, but how cool was it to see, them cover your primary series this year in such detail that it truly deserves.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's something that we've kind of missed for the last couple of years, right? And at the end of the day, like, we've got Parker is fantastic, right? All the way around. A lot of people love Parker. On top of that, like, you got Adam Alexander, who has done a terrific job in whatever booth, whatever series he's in. And then you got Jamie McMurray. But here's the thing is, like, these guys are all race fans at heart, and they kept us in the loop. They kept us engaged. And they had the same enthusiasm as we do, and that's something that I really appreciate. And there was no level of, like, it's very similar to how we do it here at the Motor Stardom show. It's like we take it seriously. We want to give you some news, but we're going to have some fun in the process. And that's something that I felt every time that I watched any race on the CW back, or watching it during the weekends whenever I wasn't in the car. But you just felt that same level of enthusiasm as the fans do, and that's something that I really appreciated out of the booth. And on top of that, it gave opportunities for guys to get the name out there, and they shared the stories that maybe you wouldn't have heard of if it was another network. And on top of that, the access with the CW app, with being able to watch different guys' onboards during the race and watching the live coverage with sometimes with no commercial breaks was awesome. So, I mean, shout out to CW. And on top of that, one more thing before I close it off and leave it over to Tanner to give some words. But the fact that we were very, very close on multiple occasions in passing Cup viewership this year because of that level of enthusiasm and engagement says a lot about what these guys did to truly embrace the series. And I think that's just so cool in itself that we were very, very close to surpassing the viewership. And on top of that, we were second a lot of times in motorsports viewership in the US, like consistently throughout the year. So shout out to the CW. I'm glad that they were able to come on board. They've been fantastic, and I'm honestly super excited to see what the future holds as they continue to broadcast what's now going to be the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So a lot of cool stuff to look forward to in the future, and glad to have the CW a part of it.
Yeah, shout out to Xfinity too, obviously, for a lot of great years with the series. I mean, it's gonna be really hard to not be saying Xfinity. This is where I've spent most of my prime NASCAR years now, so I'm gonna feel like all the people that still say Busch and Nationwide, and I'm probably gonna be saying Xfinity for a while. But O'Reilly doesn't really roll off the tongue yet. Trucks have the benefit of you just saying trucks no matter what. We don't call it Craftsman or Gander Outdoors or Camping World. We just call it trucks. So for Xfinity, until they ruin our favorite series and turn it into an electric series, that's what we'll have to say for now. I don't think Tanner got to watch much C-Dub action, but he did get to watch with me when Austin Hill committed an absolute crime on Eric Almirola in Indianapolis. I believe you remember that, right?
I do. RJ and I were at my grandmother's house watching that, and that was quite an experience. And when I did watch a race, and it was on the CW, it kept me entertained. Like, the CW's the best broadcast out there, I feel, and they keep it serious but also have some fun with it. And I did watch NASCAR earlier in my life when I was much younger, and I do remember Jamie McMurray being on there, and Jamie McMurray plays a big part. And shout out Big Mac, shout out the C-Dub.
Yeah, shout out the C-Dub. They certainly know how to do. Why the hell am I at the bottom? Jesus, I disconnected from my own stream. There we go. See, Mason's always top right. I'm top left, and whichever Jim Bob we have third. We'll be right smack down there at the bottom.
Our guest skip bottom. So.
All right. Anyway, so let's shift this into so I made this ranking. Steven was doing a ranking all year long, and I wanted to do my own personal ranking of the top 5 guests we've had on this season. I kind of factored in, mostly just how fun the episode was, how informative it was, what great stuff we got out of it. But also what it did for the show as well to have that guest on. Like, what aura did that guest give our show? So coming at number 5, got to say Tony B. Tony B kicked off the year strong. She was a fantastic get. A lot of information, obviously, from behind the scenes for her, from her racing journey to what it's led to now. And she's cool. She's a cool person. And we talked about chicken tenders. So that was a great time. Whenever we talk about chicken tenders or food in general on the show, it's a good time. It was a heavyweight battle for 5th. I was between her and I got an honorable mention, Luke Baldwin. Luke Baldwin was a fun episode. That guy's awesome.
Was a very fun episode.
Certainly have him back on next year because he's only started his racing career, but also dude's hilarious. So we will get him back on the show. Number 4 was Garrett Smithley, because Garrett Smithley himself's been on 2 episodes. Technically, he was on our first live show at Daytona in Mason's RV, and he also came on the show just a little bit ago. as we introduced Off the Record, or Over the Wall. God dang it, I still got Off the Record in my head. Over the Wall. We introduced that to the people, and that show is hilarious. Steven got stuck under his bed. We talked about a lot of stuff with Garrett, introducing the show. That will premiere very soon. So that was a lot of fun to have him on. So now that gets us into the top three. Number 3, Cesar Baccarella. What a great guy, dude.
Prime Bites enthusiast.
Prime Bites enthusiast.
Right,
he was on the show like 3 times this year, including a few weeks ago after his top 5 at Talladega. He loves the show. The show loves him. And he gave us some of the best laughs I've ever had on a show. Especially the first time we had him. But every time we've had him on the show, he's a great time. He's been a great friend of mine for many years. Always supports my stuff. So it was great to have him on here, and already agreed he's coming back on in February when we get ready for Daytona, and hopefully we'll be doing a show at the track as well. We'll see how that goes. But number 2 was our first ever guest. Kind of really put us on the map, especially with some news. And some stuff that was posted by Daily Downforce and not credited to us per usual. But, Tommy Joe Martins was on our show, getting us a lot of good stuff. And we know the history between me and him doing a show, during COVID times, post-COVID times. And so to get him on as the first guest was really awesome. And that guy could talk. And also hold it down against a crew chief on his team. Tommy Joe ain't taking no shit. That's for sure. Tommy Joe knows how to manage his tires, and he ain't taking no shit. That's what we learned from this weekend at Phoenix. And then that leads us to number 1. I think a lot of people probably expect this one, but the episode was also a lot of fun. And that's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Obviously, to get a guy who's a multi-time Xfinity Series champion, who is a Cup Series driver, right, and had just come off the weekend where he got wrecked by Carson Hocevar. And so this episode granted us so much, and we appreciate Hayek Motorsports for giving us the opportunity to have him on the show. And Ricky gave us a good time. It was a lot of fun. It sucks that the number 1 episode is an episode that Mason was not in attendance for.
Dude, I was going to say, I was like one of the very few episodes that I had missed throughout the year, and it was arguably one of our more popular ones too, because of all the news that ensued, and then like pretty much everything that happened on the racetrack gave you guys talking points. And it was like, hey, what happened? We got to talk about this now. Completely unscripted, but very popular. Very cool to have just so many amazing drivers and just people in general. Getting to talk about racing and getting to talk about the hustle behind the scenes, and also a little bit, just having some fun as well. And that's something we love to do on here, is have some fun in the process, and just amazing to have the people that we've had on here, and, continue to just do what we do here on the Motor Stardom Show. So very, very cool. Appreciate every single guest that we've had on here. Been an amazing year, and we look forward to hopefully having some guests come back on the show, as well as some new guests that, maybe we haven't seen before or talked with before, that we can kind of get the scoop on, what they got going on, and, just be able to enjoy it.
Yeah. The first appearance of Caesar on the show was also an episode where Mason wasn't there. And that was, I've only been on the show 3 times, but that was the most fun I've had. Caesar is hilarious. He's a good dude. I eat his Prime Bites all the freaking time. They're great. But I obviously didn't meet any of the other guests on here, but this isn't my show either, but I appreciate them being on here and being a good time for you guys. So
yeah, you were the filler for Mason Maggio on that Caesar episode.
I was indeed. Yes.
You were literally titled not Mason.
We've had, how many Caesar episodes have we had? We've had at least 3 or 4.
3. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, I've been on for 2 of those 3. So
okay, fair enough. Yeah. There we go.
There we go. So we definitely. I was wondering if it was 2 or 3, but yes, it's been 3.
Yeah, I was going to say we've had the in-person one at Daytona, and then we did one I think earlier in the year after Caesar had a really good run at I think it was Talladega. So Caesar's a an awesome guy, a great competitor, and on top of that, like he's just a very cool, down to earth people, a guy that just likes to have a good time with good people. So you
Yeah.
can't go wrong with that. So shout out to him and everything that he's doing with Alpha Prime, Prime Bites, all the way around. Looking forward to seeing him at the track in February. Hopefully, if we can do our live show again, which I'm sure me and RJ will try to get situated, we can have him back and be able to see what he's been up to over the offseason.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to. Geez,
Nope.
what's going on?
There he goes. Undertaker got him. Oh, he's back.
But yeah,
Man, I got really sentimental there about seasons. Did you not want to get too sentimental about it? I mean, what the hell, guys?
That was the quickest cry I've ever seen.
Equipment's breaking down at the end of the season here. But yeah,
we need to give RJ's equipment a refresh, recertification from NASCAR, or whatever the case may be.
Look, man, I'm so ready for this off season. I'm excited to get to the drawing board here with the show, with the brand. I think the show is hopefully going to do a lot of cool stuff next year. It's going to look completely different. Not completely, right? Still the same vibe, still the same fun, but it'll look a lot different, a lot better for the viewers. And we're going to have a lot of fun on this show next year. I can certainly say that. Don't know exactly what it's going to be, but going to be a lot of fun. So I want to scroll through here as we kind of reach the end of the final official episode of the season. We'll do some stuff in the off season, but I'm going to go through some of the pictures I have in the studio here in the archives. We'll start simple here. Obviously, one last shout out to Dempsey for partnering up with the show. Everybody involved with this deal, everybody at Dempsey, Tony Maggio, shout out Tony Maggio for all he's done for the show. Big shout out to him. It's meant the world. So shout out to them and the blueberry ice pouch that I've had in this gallery for about the last 5 months. Shout out to them. Now let's go up here. We're going to keep it with Mason Maggio, the picture of him in the thrift store. Took my son to watch a Minecraft movie, and he was like his the whole time.
Yeah, dude, this is it's funny because I was thinking about this. This photo in particular. This is really like my one bad photo that like Sal Volcano from Impractical Jokers had, where they just keep bringing it up. This is now mine, whether I like it or not. This is my photo.
It's all right because we got the one of Steven, obviously, where he's posted up with a helmet in front of a bookshelf, and then everybody that said he looked like John Vellucci. There he is. The comparison we'd have all year. I had this one always saved. Didn't use it as much, but I like this graphic. I love this graphic. Let me tell you.
Shout out Michael Jordan, dude.
Yeah, I didn't really use it as much as I would have loved to, but you know what? We'll probably keep it in here and save it for next season. And then this is the best one. We probably use this at least 30 times throughout the year, but we're back. We're back, and we're always back. This was literally the go-to graphic for literally anything in the sport. And on any show. So those were pretty much most of the stuff we used throughout the year. Here's Gang at Daytona. A shout out my Miami polo for the Xfinity race. Kind of matched Mason here, I guess. Mason also was going a little vibrant here with the fit. So I was trying to kind of go along with that there. But then this one we haven't used long, but I wanted to show it today because I thought it was funny. Shout out to NASCAR 25 Creator Series. I don't know what happened, but I guess NASCAR got a big opportunity here, and they got a bunch of creators to, as you see, stable Ronaldo. We got Ray in here to race NASCAR 25 against each other, but I guess they didn't figure out nor tell the people what they were doing. And it ended up in a bunch of multiplayer errors, and then they were just racing in public lobbies on stream. So I think this is supposed to happen weekly, every Wednesday, maybe. So I don't know if it's happening again tomorrow. I know Ray said he's retiring, but H&00 in this as well. Got to meet him at Daytona. I think Carson Hocevar left the stream. Todd Gilliland was there. And then Jim Bob up there in the top left, obviously. But nonetheless, man, what a year. We went over top 5 guests we've had on this season, but that's not all of them. I do want to real quick before we end off here give a shout out to everybody let's give it a shout out to everybody that has been on this stream. And we were talking Tommy Joe Martins, Carson Ware. Big shout out to Carson Ware. He's been on the show a few times. He's doing great things. He's probably streaming right now. He's probably going to be streaming tomorrow morning as well, and tomorrow night, and the next day. He's going to be streaming on Thanksgiving. But you know what? He's doing a damn good job of it. So make sure to go check out Carson Ware on TikTok. He is always streaming some iRacing and having some fun. We might do something special over the off season as far as iRacing for you guys, compete for some prizes. Ryan Vargas, shout out to him. That was another great episode. Josh Balicki, Brock Beard were on the show. Shout out to Christopher Tate. Shout out to Luke Baldwin. Shout out to Jason Alexander. Shout out to everybody from the Venom Truck series that joined the show. Shout out to Patrick Staropoli, Thomas and Enziata, Brennan Poole, and Jeremy Mayfield. That was a fun show. That's definitely got to be an honorable mention. Shout out to Caesar Baccarella ×3, Alex LeBay, Camden Murphy. There's the It's Just Mason Maggio episode. Shout out to Mason Maggio. Shout out to Austin Green. Shout out to Garrett Smithley. Shout out to Caleb Costner. Shout out to Jesse Iwuji. And shout out to the episode a few weeks ago where we had 3 guests, John. Shout out to Nick Lights, Tyler Tomasi, and Corey Day as well. So shout out to everybody that's joined the stream throughout the year. Shout out to all of our loyal viewers. Shout out to Christian Riley. You've been here pretty much all year. Shout out to Seamus. I know a big buddy of Mason. He's been here all year. Big shout out to him. Literally flag to flag, I believe. First episode, I think he was in the comment section saying like Mason Maggio, the GOAT. Hell yeah. So big shout out to him. Big shout out to Matthew Duncan for being here. Doesn't look like Checkered Flag Dan could make it tonight, but big shout out to Checkered Flag Dan. We'll have to do something with him and all you guys over the off season and to start out next year. And obviously shout out to everybody who's watched all year long. Shout outs from you guys. We're just giving shout outs left and right. You guys got anything?
I would like to shout out to both of you for having me on this show for a filler. You know, you guys obviously don't have a third person anymore. And RJ throwing me on here and getting to talk about a sport that I don't watch as much as I want to and definitely don't have much knowledge as in both of you. But I have a good time every time I'm on here, and I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and then I got to say, RJ, I've told you this behind the scenes, but this is something that I was definitely not in, my space from what I've done in the past, right? I'm not a guy that hosts shows. I just come on episodes on occasion, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'm done. I did my interviews. But it's a whole different side of the fence, getting to do the interviewing, and on top of that, to have an audience. Yeah, it's crazy to think what a conversation with me and RJ having in the truck garage after the truck race is finished and talking about, I told him, I said, hey, I had a few opportunities that I wanted to put together to do a show, but it just didn't happen. And here he is saying, hey, well, I'm wanting to start a show and have 2 drivers on there, or have a driver that can give his input and tell us a little bit about, what's going on in the sport. And a very, very prolonged conversation in the garage area that went on for a long time. But I'm glad we had it. It's crazy to think that of what we were able to do this year between RJ, Steven, all of our guests, it's something I never thought that I would be doing. But it's so cool. It's opened up so many new doors and new opportunities for us. And, it feels like I'm saying goodbye in this sense, which is weird. And that's not what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen. We still have a lot of stuff that we're going to be cooking up over the off season as everybody's planning on their year for 2026. We're very much in the same boat. So we got some cool stuff that we're going to cook up, some unique content. We're going to try to get creative. Keep you guys engaged, but no, it's been a great year, and I'm very happy to be a small part of the Motor Stardom show, and looking forward to hopefully having another great year and just enjoying the ride.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I appreciate that. Appreciate the talk we had to start this. And the thing that Mason told me that really struck me when we had that conversation is that he's had some opportunities like this, but nothing came to fruition. Nobody was really about it. And the way I look at it is look, if I'm passionate about something, I want something to happen, I'm gonna make it happen. So, when Mason told me that, I was like, I kind of took that as a challenge. I was like, let's do it. We're gonna make this happen, and we made it happen. This was a big goal for me this year, was to get a live show going, and I think we have 100% built the foundation for something that can change the landscape of live NASCAR media for years to come. Hopefully, that's the way I look at things over on Motor Stardom. To be able to finish the NASCAR season out just below 39,000 on Instagram, which is where everything started, which was on Instagram. I don't know exactly where I started Speed Weeks at, but I believe it was around maybe 34,000, 35, right? So to be able to climb up, to be able to have the posts doing as well as ever, for people reading on the site, articles written by sometimes myself, but mostly Chris Gollin doing a great job over there. And then watching some occasional videos. I posted TikTok. I want to get better at that next year. Need to get more TikTok savvy. Hey, YouTube Shorts is killing it too. Trying to get savvy with kind of the other algorithm. Some of the people that follow me on Twitter, I don't tweet much per se when I'm not specifically at the racetrack. Just because the Instagram is my mojo. It is the Motor Stardom mojo. But it's meant the world to see where the brand is at now. We're going to be working on a lot of stuff over the off season. I can't wait to get to the drawing board here and see what this is capable of. But anything I can say to anybody, if anybody's in here just wanting to pursue something, if they're wanting to pursue something in the sport, whether it's working for a team or media, anything, just put your mind to it. Get your foot in the door, get connections. That's what sparks things. The cliche saying, it's not all about what you know, it's about who you know. That's how things start, especially in today's world. And so just do it. This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't, kind of have a moment where I just put my head down, put my foot down, and went pedal to the metal to make this happen. And here we are. It's challenging at times, but it's freaking worth it, man. It's freaking worth it leaving a racetrack after a weekend, getting ready for Speed Weeks already. I'm excited about it. I'm ready for the off season, but also can't wait still to drive through that tunnel at Daytona to start off a weekend, and then raid Mason's RV, take his Propel Gatorade that I've actually never tried before. I just know he's stocked in his fridge of that. So if there's anywhere I'm going to try the Propel Gatorade, however you pronounce it, it's going to be in the Maggio RV. So shout out to the Maggio family for everything that they do. I'm sure it's going to be at Daytona in the infield, just as it is every year. And it's a good time over there. Great turkey cheese sandwiches also.
Straight up.
Fantastic. Just a little bit of bail on there. It's all I need. So
yeah,
man, but yeah.
You've never had a Propel?
No, I haven't.
Get a load of this guy.
I had my first vitamin water the other day, actually, yesterday and today. 2 days in a row. I liked it so much yesterday. I had it again today.
You got to expand. You got to expand your beverage variety there, RJ. If you've been missing out on vitamin water forever, man. Vitamin water is awesome.
Vitamin water's solid. It's okay, so is Corona. But anyways, we're going to sign off here for the final time. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. Hope everybody has an amazing Thanksgiving with family and friends. And hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. I say that's not the last time I'll talk to everybody, but Daytona Charity Shootout is what I can say will be next on the cards. It's the iRacing charity event I've been lucky enough to put together the last 6 years. We're going for the 7th annual one this year. I believe it's number 7, Daytona Charity Shootout. And so it's going to be a good time. I can't wait. It's going to be your favorite drivers throughout the industry in there. Maybe Mason Maggio Racing. We'll have to, I don't know if you got a rig down there in Florida or an iRacing service down there.
I do. I just got to make sure that I am severely behind on my updates. The last time I tried to do it, I never thought that I'd say this, but I actually rage quit on updating because it was taking so long. Because iRacing, I love the platform, but man, there's just so many updates that I'm so behind with that. But no, I will definitely try to be a part of that whenever we get some dates and all that stuff released for whether I'm racing or shoot, if you need me to commentate in the booth, I'll do that too if we got to do that. So. but no, it's such an awesome event that RJ puts on, and to have so many fans and drivers alike come together and really come together to have some fun. But at the end of the day, it's also to a bigger cause than just racing. So really, really cool that he puts that on, and look forward to hopefully being a small part of it whenever we can put that all together.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you guys as always. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And, hopefully it won't be long before we see you in February for the first official edition of the Motor Stardom Show to kick off 2020. Without further ado, that's Tanner Popella down there. He lives in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. If you don't know where that is, it's okay. I didn't know either before he moved there. This is Mason Matthew. He drives the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. He finishes the year off racing the Truck Series. You never know what he's racing in. My parents never do. Every time I say, hey, he was racing trucks this weekend, they're like, I thought he raced Xfinity. And then if I say he raced Xfinity, they think he raced trucks. So it's okay. He's a jack of all trades. RJ Starsmith founded Motor Stardom. We started this show at the beginning of the year, and it's been a good time. We thank you all for tuning in. It certainly means the world that you guys watch us. It's a bunch of BS every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we'll have details about the show coming over the off-season. Stay tuned on Motor Stardom social channels. I'll have something for you every day, some sort of entertainment, whether it's videos or somebody saying 6-7. You never know.